Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage one of the Vuelta España 2024, brought to you by Lupine Lights. Lupine Lights will light up your streets, light up your trails, keep you fit and fast when the sun's dropping down and it starts to go dark. Make sure you use the code LupineLights24 if you want to save 24% off your next high-quality, super efficient light system there from Lupine Lights, where Bluetooth connectivity. And of course, they got an app on the phone to adjust your battery length depending on how much light you need to make your ride home from work or your fun ride out through the trails exciting. If you need them for your personal use, they got the headlamps, they got the helmet lamps, and of course, they got the bar lamps in all different sizes. For the best quality in lights, it's Lupine Lights 24 for your next order. Now let's get into today's individual time trial. At 12 kilometers, 7.5 kilometers in length, it's going to be Luis Angel Mate that takes off first from the ramp. This will be his last and final Vuelta a España of his career. As the Spanish rider is taking off from the ramp, he'll be the first across the line. But he's not going to hold it too long. As we start seeing the next rider, it's Enric Mas crossing the line 5 seconds up on the time of Angel Mate. And then when we look further back, well, it's my man Victor Campenaerts that's out on the course. He's flying in the tight TT position. When he crosses the line, he's 7 seconds up and puts himself in the hot seat. That's not going to hold for too long, because out on the course, we got Jay Vine. Jay Vine's flying through the course. He crashed back there at the Basque Country on stage 4 when all of the favorites went down. He's recovered since then at Vuelta a Burgos, won the individual time trial, and here he's flying through to put himself in the hot seat, 8 seconds up. That time's not going to hold for very long, because VISMA bike's out there, Eduardo Affini. As he crosses the line 16 seconds faster, we're starting to see the time trial specialists come to work here on stage 1 of the individual time trial, the Vuelta a España. When we look at Affini sitting in the hot seat, well, we got some top quality riders coming through. As we see Ben O'Connor, his time's not too high though, he's 44 seconds down. Next rider for general classification, Skilmos. Skilmos from Lidl Trucks flying on the pedals, looks solid through the individual time trial. When he crosses the line, he's 14 seconds back. Solid time for a small climber here from the Lidl Trek. And when we start looking a little further back, who are the next GC guys coming across the line? It's going to be Mikel Landa. Mikel Landa from Soudal Quickstep. His time 57 seconds slower than the best time so far of Eduardo Affini. Now we start seeing Eduardo Affini having a good time on the hot seat, but we got guys warming up on the trainer, and then we start seeing the next favorites coming off. It's Josh Tarling leaving the ramp, the British rider. He's been a big-time favorite here to win today's stage 1. They're calling him the outright favorite when I was watching it live. I thought outright favorite? We got Wout van Aert in this race. Josh Tarling can't be the outright favorite. One of the outright favorites for sure, but outright, I don't see it. But when he's coming through the first time check, he's 3 seconds up on the time of Eduardo Affini. Once he comes into the final corners, though, the time's looking tight. When he crosses the line, he's just under a second behind. They showed it green, but then it changed back to red, and now Eduardo Affini's smiling there, sitting in the hot seat. Now, the big-time favorites are starting to leave the ramp as we see Yates, Adam Yates. We don't expect him to win, but how's he going to go in terms of the general classification? When Adam Yates is flying on the pedals out there, he crosses the line 26 seconds back from the time of Eduardo Affini. And next up is Kian Utelbrooks from VISMA bike. VISMA bike rider's 37 seconds down, though, in 31st position, so he's losing some time here. Out on the road, though, is going to be Carlos Rodriguez, Team Ineos. As Carlos Rodriguez is flying through the finish, he's 44 seconds back, just below 40th position. So Carlos Rodriguez has some time to make up. Sepp Kuss was leaving the ramp, and as Sepp Kuss is leaving the ramp, he's starting to drop time right away. Then the helicopters are going to find Mateusz Waszek up there. Waszek is going solid on the pedals, but we got just the helicopter angle because nobody decided to send the motorcycle there with Waszek as the rider from Lidl Trek's flying. He's up on time as he comes across the finish line 6 seconds faster than Eduardo Affini. Eduardo Affini is like, well, I'm out of the hot seat, and Waszek's like, I'm getting into the hot seat, but remember, we got a ton of favorites. Now we start going back and finding Sepp Kuss out there on the course. He's dropping more time out there. He's going to cross the line 51 seconds down on the time of Waszek, but before Sepp Kuss finished, it was Almeida coming across the line 17 seconds back for UAE team members with a solid time. Leaving the ramp's going to be the hot favorites as we see Primoz Roglic up there from Bora Hansgrohe. How has he recovered from his double crashes at the 24 2024 Tour de France. He abandoned the Tour de France. We haven't seen him racing since, but he looks fine out on the pedals as he's going full gas, trying to find power wherever he can. The Slovenian is setting solid tempo, but he's still losing 13 seconds at the first time check. Next rider to leave the ramp, Brandon McNulty in the U.S. Pro Championship jersey. He's the penultimate rider, but just behind Brandon McNulty, it's Wout van Aert. With all the riders out on the course, with Primoz Roglic doing damage control because he's racing for general classification, we're going to see the Slovenian come through the finish line 15 seconds down from the time of Vasek. The cameras go back and find Brandon McNulty. He's looking solid. He's only losing about 1 second up there, the Vasek, but as he's coming into the finish, it's still showing green. The American rider in the U.S. Pro Championship Individual Time Trial Championship jersey crosses the line. He's up 2 seconds from Vasek to put himself in the hot seat with only one more rider out there. Who is it, though? It's Wout van Aert, the Belgium time trial specialist. Specialist of everything except for the big old mountains, but we've seen him go specialist in the big mountains at the Tour de France too. So what kind of form does Wout van Aert have here in the individual time trial? The first time check, Wout van Aert comes through 13 seconds up on the time of Vasek. The next time check, he's up 1 second. He's losing time. As we see Wout van Aert flying into the finish, he'll lose 3 seconds to Vasek and finish third on today's individual time trial. That means the American Brandon McNulty from UAE Team Emirates, he wins today's stage and takes the race leader's red jersey. We finished last year in 2023 with the American Sepp Kuss winning the overall general classification. Can Brandon McNulty ride JC here? Well, in his interview after the stage, he said he didn't really expect to win unless things got crazy. Well, things got crazy. His words, not mine, and he won today's stage. But he did say he's realistic because he has 2 teammates. He has Adam Yates and Joao Almeida. Remember, they won Tour of Swiss 1 and 2. They went big time support there for Tadej Pogacar, who won the Tour de France. So Brandon McNulty saying that he's under no illusions here, that he's going to be working for the 2 riders there throughout this year's Vuelta a España. But I got to believe right now when I'm looking at the form of Brandon McNulty, and we haven't seen Joao Almeida or Adam Yates race since the Tour de France, their legs could be tired. Right now, when I take you back to the Strava records from Brandon McNulty while he was training in Phoenix, Arizona, he was blowing Strava courses up, and he was doing 6-hour training rides out there with almost 300 watts average. The American rider's certainly on form, there's no doubt about it. Now, can he win the Vuelta a España? I don't know, because Primoz Roglic looked pretty solid, losing just about 15 seconds in the individual time trial today. He's got to be the hot favorite, along with, of course, UAE Team Emirates that have a host of climbers. There's no doubt about it. When you look over at VISMA bike, though, Sepp Kuss went bad. Steven Kruijswijk lost 1 minute and 25 when he crossed the line. Kjan Uterbrooks was their best rider. He lost 45 seconds. So their 3 top climbers from VISMA bike all lost time. Now, Wout van Aert finished third, and Alfini had a solid ride here, but they're not climbers, right? Of course, unless the big guy Wout van Aert's found his climbing legs from the past Tour de France 2 years ago, where we saw him going over big-time mountains and blowing up the peloton. But at this moment, there are 3 climbers from VISMA bike who won last year's edition here at the Vuelta a España and won all 3 Grand Tours in 2023. This is the last of the Grand Tours in 2024, and VISMA bike haven't won it. So they need to pick up the ball right now, but 3 of their climbers don't look fantastic after the individual time trial. Okay, it was flat, pancake flat along the beach, had one little bump and one little descent dropping down, but otherwise there was nothing there to help out the legs there from Sepp Kuss, Steven Kruijswijk, and Kjan Uterbrooks to go better. But Bora Hansgrohe looked solid, Vlasov had a good ride, Primoz Roglic I already talked about, and of course Danny Martinez went pretty solid here in the individual time trial too, but still losing over 30 seconds. So when we start looking at UAE Team Emirates, where they went first with Brandon McNulty, Almeida 10th, and Adam Yates a little bit back on time, but not so bad. They have a solid depth here of team, but can Brandon McNulty ride for general classification? Well, as I said earlier in the video here, Brandon McNulty thinks he's working for the other 2. But at this moment, Brandon McNulty, save your legs, be the last support rider for Joao Almeida and for Adam Yates. If they can't follow, if their legs aren't as sharp as they were at the Tour de France and the Tour of Swiss this year in 2024, you might be the #1 rider for UAE Team Emirates. Remember, yesterday's video, Beyond the Coverage, I told you the team directors have to have plans set up in place so there's not chaos everywhere. And right now, when I'm looking at Brandon McNulty's form, winning today's individual time trial, and knowing that in the past he's been a climber, and knowing that Brandon McNulty is coming into the Vuelta a España in 2024 incredibly fresh. I don't know if I'd want to just put him on the front doing anything crazy right away. I think I'm saving the American rider for as long as I possibly can until we actually see some other team drop Brandon McNulty. Otherwise, right now, UAE team members have at least 3 riders, Joel Almeida, Adam Yates, and Brandon McNulty to look after in these coming stages. Remember, tomorrow stage 2 and stage 3 look like they should be sprinter stage, so we should see Albacine de Koenig getting on the front for Caden Groves, controlling the peloton, which would mean that UAE team members can relax on the next couple stages here at the Vuelta a España. Wait till you get into the mountain stages, see what Brandon McNulty's legs look like once the climbs start coming up. Because if he's crazy fresh, well, I won in 2013. I was the first American to win here. Sepkus won last year. Now Brandon McNulty's in the race leader's red jersey here for stage 2 of the Vuelta a España. Make sure, Brandon McNulty, your director sportista, they're thinking the same way I am. You do not switch your mode, like you said in your interview, where you're racing for the 2 other riders here of Adam Yates and Joel Almeida. Make sure it's the other teams that have to drop you first in the mountain stages. If that's happening, then you switch into support mode for those other 2 riders, because otherwise, right now with the freshness in your legs, you might be the next American to win the Vuelta a España. Of course, Primoz Roglic might be thinking something different, because that Slovenian, he looks like he's got some form even though he crashed at the Tour de France. At this moment, he is the #1 favorite, Primoz Roglic, to win the Vuelta a España. Up here on the butterfly effect, there's no doubt about it. Till we see the Slovenian actually show if his legs are bad, he's the #1 favorite. So, if you're UAE team members, you got the race leader's red jersey, make sure Bora Hansgrohe have to do the majority of the work, and make sure Bora Hansgrohe has to drop Brandon McNulty before Brandon McNulty starts switching into support mode. Hope you guys enjoyed the butterfly effect for today's stage 1 of the individual time trial. Congratulations, Brandon McNulty. Not a big surprise, but a little bit of a surprise up here on the butterfly effect. Great job in today's stage 1 here of the Vuelta a España. See you guys for stage 2 real soon.